Sabrina, so fab to meet you and to have you on the show.
You too. Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling now that every single part of this experience is out there?
Overwhelmed. It's a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I guess having your whole life aired to the world is fine when it's going well, but when it's not, it's not as easy. But there's also an amount of relief that comes with it because obviously I had been holding on to everything for so long. And when you're having a really difficult or painful day, you can't exactly explain to people why. Um, and then in that in between stage getting loads of congratulations message and like
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm just, oh my gosh, it was really, that's why I took myself away for a few days and just stayed off my phone because it was too much. And so there's a real sense of relief now.
That's the bit that I wanted to know about because, like, I know it must be tough having your life played out on screen. But what we don't all get, like, we got to watch it in 3 weeks, binge all episodes. But this was filmed over a year ago. And with that comes a lot of secrecy. And, we're all told we have to talk and get what's on our chest. But you weren't able to. What's it like living this double life? And I'm sure you told probably your nearest and dearest, but you couldn't tell everyone. You couldn't be you. What is that like for a year?
Obviously there was a certain amount of people who knew because we were able to have a certain amount of friends and family at the
Yeah.
wedding, so they had obviously all signed NDAs as well. But to be honest, Serena, I actually really isolated myself from my friends and family when it initially happened because I think there was like this sense of like failure and embarrassment that it had only lasted a couple of months. And I had asked all of them to like, because Netflix don't pay for their travel and accommodation and stuff to come to the weddings. So I had asked, yeah, so I had asked my friends and family to take time off work, come to this wedding, pay for accommodation, trains, hotels. My brother flew in from Korea, like, so it was a big deal. So I had this like insane amount of embarrassment and this sense of failure that I'd let everyone down. So I really isolated myself for the first kind of few months of this year. But I had to go to therapy. Like it's the only thing that really kind of kept me moving forward. Because I was diagnosed with depression. I was put in medication for the first time in my life. Um, and therapy really was a godsend through that time to really help me process everything that had happened, but also deal with that anticipatory grief for this
Yeah.
life that I thought I was going to have with this person.
That's got to be tough. But you know what? I am so glad that you went and seeked help and also took medication because, we don't talk about this. And sometimes this is what you need.
Yeah, and like it was tablets for my anxiety because it just got, and I think that was part of not being able to tell people.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I was having a really bad day and I was having a client meeting, like then I was like having panic attacks and not being able to really kind of manage all of the symptoms that came with the anxiety. So I wasn't on it every day. I just had to take that medication as and when I needed it. But there was definitely times that I really needed that to help me get through everyday life while keeping this huge secret.
But now it is all out. And you are feeling a huge sense of relief that it is all out there. And tell me that the guilt is gone. You didn't need to feel that guilt that it didn't work out because that's what love is. It's not a guarantee. You can't predict what's going to happen.
I know, but I think for me on the wedding day, I had a lot of my intuition was telling me that it hadn't been enough time. I
Yeah.
hadn't seen where he lived, I hadn't seen experienced work, we hadn't experienced long distance. Um, so my intuition was telling me it wasn't enough time, and I went with my heart instead of my mind. And because I truly, really did believe that he was my person, and I really did love that person that was in the experiment with me. Um, so I did have a lot of guilt, and that's something I really had to work through in therapy, and that's been amazing at helping me kind of work through that. So no, don't have that guilt anymore, but I did
Good.
harbor it for a long time. Um, but yeah, it was difficult.
And do you think you went through with it, one, because you wanted it to work, but two, the pressure of it's all being filmed and you don't want to let the producers down? Was there a little bit of that going through your mind as well?
It's not even about letting the producers down. I think it was again having your friends and family. Like I said, my brother flew in from Korea. So it's all of these people, and it's really hard to explain. You haven't lived real life for a couple of months and you are caught
Yeah.
up in this little bubble, and it probably isn't there. You don't have that real reflection of what life is going to be like in the real world, so it's so easy to get caught up in this bubble of like everything being so wonderful and perfect.
What's it been like for you watching this back? Have you been able to watch it back?
So I've watched right up until the apartments. I have not watched. We had to watch a clip of our wedding the night before the reunion. So I've seen maybe like just the ceremony part, but I have not watched like the hens, the wedding episodes, or the reunion. It's too painful for me. Um,
You don't have to.
no, and I won't. It's too much.
Yeah. So how did it feel like you knew how everything was going to work out by the time the reunion show came around? That's got to be tough. What was it like walking into the reunion show, knowing that Stephen was going to be there as well? And you're going to be questioned about everything.
I mean, for me, it was the anxiety of seeing him again after 8 months. Like coming face to face, like that was really hard to comprehend, and the build up of that. But at the same time, I think I had been holding on to so much for so long, and it was finally a chance and an opportunity for me to speak my truth and have my closure.
Yeah, that's important, isn't it?
Really important. I
How
didn't think I realized how important closure was before I had to sit on this for 8 months. Um, but oh my gosh, like it was almost cathartic for me, I think.
has there been any contact since the reunion episode, or is that it?
No, we haven't had contact in quite some time. So I think maybe it was a couple of weeks before the reunion. He asked to have a conversation with me, and it was just to let me know that he was dating again, and so that I wouldn't be blindsided by that. But other than that, we haven't spoken. There's been no contact from the reunion or anything like that.
What's the biggest lesson that this show has taught you?
Trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. Ask questions later.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I think as women sometimes we forget. We are so in tune, and our bodies are sometimes do send warnings and signals, and it's learning to listen to that. I even got a tattoo about intuition after I was like,
You did not.
and
That's
I was like, you know
fab.
what? I'm never ever going to doubt myself again.
So what does the future look like for you at the moment?
I'm back to work. I took a couple of weeks off there, obviously to do everything with the show and all of that. But I'm back working with my clients this week, getting caught up after a few weeks off. I love what I do. I love my work. I'm going to continue doing that. And yeah, we'll just see what else happens along the way. But yeah, I'm really focused on my clients at the minute.
What's it been like to be getting all the feedback from everybody? How have you handled all of that?
Do you know, it's again overwhelming because obviously you will have some negative feedback. It's just public opinion. You're always going to receive some amount of negativity. But I have to say, the overwhelming response from women across the world has just been like, I mean, from Japan, Hawaii, Canada, Mexico, like people are messaging me, and it's so hard because I'd love to be able to respond to everyone, and
You
I'm sure
can't.
it's not possible. But it's so crazy and also a little sad to see how many women can relate to this and have been in very, very similar situations.
Yeah.
And that's a little heartbreaking, but also um, it's so beautiful to feel all of that support and love from around the world.
So knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
I don't regret doing the show, and I'm really glad that I did the experiment. And I'm glad that I went through the whole process and I trusted it. I went in there with an open heart, open mind, and I really trusted and believed in what we were doing. Um, I wouldn't do it again. If it was the first time and I didn't know, I probably
Yeah.
I would do the experiment. But I wouldn't go back in for a second time if that makes sense. And I certainly wish I hadn't have gotten married.
But this hasn't put you off love.
No, but I'm very much just gonna work on myself, and no man, no stress right now.
That
So
that sounds good. And just, do you know what? Enjoy all the positives that have come from this as well. And enjoy just being able to be 100% of yourself now because all the secrets are out of the bag.
I know, like even one of my clients yesterday was like, fair play because you did not give a single thing away. Like we wouldn't even have known you were dating someone, never mind married for like um so they were like fair play. But yeah, it's nice that it's all out there. And I actually have made some of the most incredible friends from the show as well. So that's really, really beautiful as well. There's so many positives that have came out of it. So I'm really grateful for all of that.
That's brilliant. And actually, before I go, those marriages, are they legally binding?
They are legally binding.
I thought it was all pretend.
No, so that's why, like for me, it was a really big deal, and like you see how nervous I am when I'm introducing Steve into my family. Like that was a huge deal for me, and yeah, that's why it's not to be taken lightly. It's a legally binding marriage.
Wow. Well, do you know what? It's all good. You've learnt from that. Trust your intuition and just enjoy this next chapter that's coming your way.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.